Just for the benefit of the audience, the house rules will be, I will be moderating the session. I will start with the panel introduction. Then I will have the honor of presenting introduction about the CBZ. And also we present the disruptive application called CBZ Touch as well. Then we present the background on Morphine. Then the panel will start discussing on the question and answers and the panel discussion. And kindly request all of your mics to be on mute. And if you wish to raise any question during the conversation or during the panel session or during the introduction, you may raise your hand on the platform and give your details, and we'll take the question and we'll come back to you. And our panel will be happy to answer all your questions if it comes in a proper manner. So these are the ground rules. With that, we get started immediately.
Okay.
Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Myself is Amar. I am the MD Morphine, and I have today my distinguished panels from CBZ. CBZ is the largest bank in Zimbabwe, and from CBZ, my panelists are Mr. Dr. Panashe Chirunge. He is the Chief Technology Officer, CBZ Holdings, and Mr. Adolf Thandi. He is the Business Analyst from CBZ Holdings. So let me take a moment to introduce my honorable panel as well. And before that, kindly allow me to give a brief background on CBZ Holdings. And CBZ Holdings is a reputed financial institutions based in Zimbabwe, and they are the largest bank in terms of the assets holding in Zimbabwe. And to their credit, they are the umbrella financial institution, it's called in Zimbabwe market, because under the CBZ Holdings, they have a commercial bank, they have an investment bank, they have an insurance firm, they have a wealth asset, wealth management firm, they have an asset management, and they are offering treasury services and whatnot. So apart from a commercial bank, they are also into so many other activities, other banking activities. That's why CBZ is highly regarded in the Zimbabwe market as a financial supermarket. Today, I am privileged, and I have the honor to introduce the CBZ Holdings and also the panelists from the CBZ as well. And get going, Mr. Ladies and gentlemen. If I can give a background about the CBZ panelists, as I said, Dr. Panashe Chirungu is the Chief Technology Officer, and I would say 5 minutes is not enough to give a background of Dr. Panashe. So I was discovering about him. We have a common friend, and it's a small world. And if I can give his official titles, I may be wrong in saying few things. He has a PhD in finance. He has the PhD in quantitative finance from the University of London. He is the Microsoft associate. He is the enterprise architect certified member. He is the Microsoft certified technology specialist. He is a BizTalk evangelist. He is a certified global derivative analyst from MCX, whatnot. Sometimes I really wonder why Panashe should take a chief technology officer role rather than taking a chief financial officer role. Maybe the CFO at CBZ should be seriously worrying about him. I don't know. And apart from these things, Mr. Dr. Panashe is known and respected very highly in the banking industry across Africa, especially if you look at the southern part of Africa. Is very well known in the banking industry and the software industry, and he is known for working out a complex softwares and launching the complex projects in the banking industry. He is the darling of the channel banking and system engineering and risk management, and needless to say that he is the go-to man in any banking organization given the opportunity. So CBZ, I would say, really blessed to hold him as a Chief Technology Officer. And sir, today we are very privileged to have you on our panel, and we welcome you again to this webinar. Thank you. And if I can take a moment to introduce Mr. Adolf Thandi. He is my good friend at CBZ, and I would say he is a darling of business people at CBZ. So his official title at CBZ is a business analyst, support systems CBZ, but unofficially he is the go-to man of all the business people at CBZ. Any banking organization heavily relies on the business systems and technology support, and Mr. Thandi, being in his role, is responsible for supporting all the business systems running at the CBZ Holdings. So needless to say, he is the darling of the business people at CBZ Holding. And he holds a information degree from the University of South Africa, and is for a long time working with CBZ Holdings. He was our good friend, and he was the instrumental in launching CBZ Touch application in Zimbabwe market. Mr. Tanding, welcome again to this webinar.
Thank you. Thank
you. So ladies and gentlemen, let me briefly present about this opportunity, what we have at hand today. So today we will be discussing about a CBZ Touch. It's a banking application launched by the CBZ Holdings in Zimbabwe market in the year 2016, if I am not wrong. And there is a long history about the CBZ Touch, and there is a perception in the market how the CBZ Touch application has disrupted the banking services in the Zimbabwe market. And after launching the CBZ Touch application, I can honestly say that there are so many organizations in the Zimbabwe who followed the footprints of CBZ Touch. So if I can give a background on the CBZ Touch, it was the application launched in the 2016, month I'm not very sure, but the year at least 2016. And it was the first integrated banking application to be launched in the Zimbabwe banking market, financial market, I would say. It was the first application supporting both Android, iOS, Windows, USSD on an integrated platform. And also it was the first application bringing boutique of the financial services under the same application. So normally bankers launch the application, but they limit their application to certain services like retail services or maybe the corporate services, etc. But the CBZ Touch has brought a boutique of financial services under its application. You be it a retail services, it's available. You be it a corporate services, it's available. You be it a salary processing, it's available. You be it a SME services, you be it a custodial services, you be it a insurance services, you be it a wealth management services. There are so many things available inside this application. So because of this boutique of services, CBZ really stood out apart from other competitors in the market when they launched in the market. And needless to say, with CBZ Touch, you can do many more things. And as under the present new normal, as you know, now people are avoiding going to the branches and trying to stay indoors and maintain the distances, etc. Right? So, so under the new normal, I would say this is the place. I mean, this is the go-to market, I would say, or this is the way to go ahead.
Please.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, having given the background on the CBZ Touch, if I can touch base on the performance of the CBZ Touch, having launched this application in 2016, today we can proudly say that on CBZ Touch, there are around 628,000 accounts hosted. So kindly note that these are independent digital banking accounts, it can be called as, or maybe some guys call it as a wallet accounts also, whatever the name, but around 628,000 accounts are hosted on this platform. Number one. Number second, at the same time, there are around 90 agents working on this platform to offer the branchless banking services. An average in a day, through this CBZ Touch application, the bank is opening around 130 banking accounts. That means they are acquiring the 130 new customers as for the banking services. This is everything through digitally on the CBZ Touch without any human intervention or without any humans available on the human sales force available on the field. And at the same time, if I can touch base on a daily basis, an average of 54,000 transactions happening on a daily basis. That means a 10% of the registered members on this platform are actively using this application on daily basis. On an average in a year, they are disbursing, they are transacting around $18 million worth of transactions annual basis. So if I can summarize, this is the performance of a small bank in most of the African countries. We came across with small to medium banks in most of the African countries where their total customer size itself is 500,000 customers. But you see on this application, we are already serving 628,000 customers, which is slightly above the 500,000 mark. And yes, the bank is also in a process of enabling more number of agents, and that is one of the new strategies the bank is coming up with this new normal. And very soon you will hear news on that in the market as well. And opening 130 accounts in a day on this digital platform is not a small number. If you're looking at 130 accounts, it means in an active month, we look at around 3,000 plus new accounts acquiring for this CBZ holdings. Imagine a situation where you need to have a manpower available as a sales force available with you. You need to maintain the DSS, to acquire these customers. How painful it will be. Not only painful, how much time it will take to acquire these customers. And third one is what is the cost implications in acquiring these customers. With this CBZ Touch digital applications, we are eliminating all those things. So I would say it's an impressive performance so far. And we will hear from the panelists on what are the challenges they had and what are the lessons we can learn from them in reaching this milestone and what is their future plans as well. And for the benefit of the audience, and if we can quickly touch base on the number of services or the kind of services they are offering, and also the popular services which most of the people uses the CBZ Touch is mentioned here. So it is evident that most of the people uses the CBZ Touch for cardless withdrawals from ATM locations, and also integrated CBZ Touch asset management services. They also use it for airtime top up. They also use it for GPIT fund transfer. They're using it for RTGS fund transfer. They're using it for interbank account transfers, and they're also using it for wallet transfers. They're also using it for school payments and other things. So meaning to say that most of the banking life is taken care with this help of the CBZ Touch, if I'm not wrong, in a nutshell. And needless to say, this is some of the reviews they received from the market. These reviews are available openly on your Google App Stores and iOS stores as well. And needless to say that in 2018 or 19, the CBZ Touch application is even received a prestigious digital banking award in the Zimbabwean market. So kudos to the team who worked towards this goal and who made this possible. And a big round of appreciation and applause to the CBZ team. I think this is the approach how they reached this mark. And instead of we discussing this one, I would say let the CBZ Touch people discuss about this during the panel discussion. I will quickly skip this slide and we'll move on to the background on Morphine. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me present Morphine. We are the fintech company based in India with a global footprint, and we are today serving more than 60 plus customers across Africa. And the CBZ Holdings is one of our best customers in Zimbabwe. And we are the people who worked with CBZ Holdings in launching the CBZ Touch application. And we are privileged to say that we are one of the best experience we had in Zimbabwe market. And this was the best example we set up in the Zimbabwe market, and the rest was the history. Today we get a lot of inquiries from Zimbabwean market, and we're working with other banks in Zimbabwe is only because of CBZ Touch what we did. And on our presence, we are working with closely 60 plus banks in Africa. We are the first to launch some of the new and innovative things in the African market. We are the first to launch a multi-channel banking system in Kenya. We are the first to launch agency banking in Kenya and Uganda. We are the first to launch cardless withdrawals in Uganda. We are the first to launch integrated banking application in Zimbabwe. We are the first to launch micro saving and micro lending. And we are the first to implement mVisa application. So these are some of the first to our credit. And we are a team of 120 employees based out of Bangalore, Kenya, and other markets spread across Africa. So, with this, I end my introduction on Morphine. Now, I would like to call on my panelists, Mr. Adolf Thandi and Mr. Dr. Panache, to have our panel discussion. Dr. Panache, the first question from one of the audience is, in 2016, why bank has decided to launch such application when the whole market is not using any such applications?
Yeah, so if you look at the current market, the experience then was, in terms of transacting, was through non-rich user interfaces like USSD. So an active decision was made to say, why can't we provide a good customer journey experience through a platform that allows you to be more interactive? You know,
Okay.
USSD has got its issues. There's session timeouts issues, minimum number of characters and responses that USSD can do. But when you're talking of a mobile app, those restrictions are not there. So we made a decision to launch a platform that will give our customers a rich user experience.
Interesting. Very good, Stack. So, Dr. Panasha, if I can take another question for you, so under the present normal scenarios, people don't want to come outside the market, and the new normal what we are all facing as under the pandemic. So how do you see the bank is embracing these new challenges, and do you see it as a challenge, or what are the opportunities you see here, and how you think CBZ Touch can address all these things?
Yes, so the challenge that we had is that we were forced by COVID-19 to shut down the branches within 21 days, for about 21 days. So we had to make sure that all our customers are able to use all our digital channels, of which the one of the most critical channels is CBZ Touch. So through this lockdown period, we've seen a significant growth in the usage of CBZ Touch, whether it's topping up their electricity, whether it's buying airtime, whether it's normal transfers and so on. We've seen a significant jump in usage because of COVID-19. So it is so it is enabled us to also scale because of that growth in transacting volumes.
Very good, interesting. So under the present scenarios, you see any new future for the CBZ Touch in terms of the interoperability as an instrument, payment instrument, or partnerships and other things? What are your thoughts on that?
So in terms of interoperability and in terms of open banking and so on, we are allowing other players who want to use our platform as a gateway to be able to create their own platforms as well. So if you're a fintech or if you're another banking institution that would like to use our platform to give your own customers a different experience by using our gateway, we're more than happy to facilitate that, right? So we are also integrating to all sorts of other platforms to create this interoperable mobile app that is interconnected to every other channel. As you know, money is not. So what has happened in Zimbabwe, money has been treated as an island or a closed loop means of transacting by these other mobile money platforms. But money is not supposed to be an island. It's supposed to be a means of exchange that allows you to make any kind of payment. So we are actively pursuing to facilitate that, whether it's even our competitor. We're more than happy to open our platform and facilitate that interoperability and integration.
Oh, this is interesting, and it is very interesting to note that. And in the same lines, you mean to say, suppose a small to medium bank comes and approaches CBZ Touch, they wanted to make use of CBZ Touch because they may not be able to invest so much of money on the such technology embracing. Would it be allow them to do a white labeling or whatever the moralities required, and such things?
Absolutely. You know what we say is the sky is big enough for every single bird to fly without colliding, right?
Right.
So we're more than happy to facilitate, whether you're a fintech, a bank that doesn't have enough financial muscle to create their own platform to be able to facilitate mobile banking. We're more than happy to facilitate it.
Very good. Very interesting to know that one.
So we are the only bank, that can do that, right? Other banks are very. If you ask any other bank, they would say no. But we are open. So whoever you are, we are more than happy to facilitate it.
It's a very different direction that CBZ are taking, and it's a very bold initiative, I would say, in the market. Because often I hear in the market, be it telco wallets in Zimbabwe or other banks also, they always try to protect their ecosystem. They always try to be a closed loop operators. So when you are making this statement, it's obviously mean that any banker, irrespective whether they have a channels or not, can easily make use of your CBZ Touch channel and yet service their customers. Their customers don't even know that the service is coming from CBZ. They always think that it's coming from other bank guy. So it's a very open initiative. And I must appreciate what you are thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we will facilitate, and you can create your own innovations. We're more than happy to facilitate it. Right.
Oh, very good. Very interesting.
Yeah, we welcome competition. For us, we are also actively growing our digital channels. But at the same time, we recognize that there are other players who might require such platforms. They might not have the financial muscle to be able to, and the skills, of course, to be able to
True.
Implement. So CBZ, we probably also in terms of IT staff, we are 100 plus. So also the biggest IT staff in the country. Right? So in terms of skills, yeah, we also be yeah.
So
we see ourselves. So our trust is very different. So we see ourselves as a technology company with a banking license. Right? So we are a technology company with a banking license. We are no longer a bank that uses technology. We are a technology company with a banking license.
Which is an interesting statement, and which also makes me feel a little insecure about your statement. We're also a fintech company, and with all the probability, we want to co-live together. So that I think that is the new normal nowadays. So according to our experience, for these fintechs to be successful, for the such applications in the market to be successful, one has to co-live with the existing ecosystems and the new ecosystems. So the statement what we made is very bold, and ladies and gentlemen, that is the statement coming from Dr. Panashe, Chief Technology Officer, CBZ Holdings. Is very clear that CBZ as a bank would be very happy to accommodate any small to medium organization or a fintech in exploring their digital channels for the benefit of their consumers, which is a very good statement. And I would quickly wanted to check with Mr. Thandi if he's available for a call, because there is one particular question with respect to the implementation. Mr. Thandi, is your audio is all right now? Okay, Thandi, I would like to bring this question to your notice. When bank embraces such a massive implementation or a massive project, so what are the challenges you normally face from the implementation side? And what is your piece of advice to the audience, for undertaking such projects? Okay, so
but maybe I can respond to some of those questions, and then you can come. Obviously, when you're creating a platform, the implementation challenge that you'll have is you have to connect to all these different pillars, right? It's not just good to have a platform where it's just you and your clients transacting. You want to be able to open up the platform to be able to integrate, to do electricity, all these various types of payments. So CBZ alone, as you know, we've got over 100 billers that are connected to the platform. Right?
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, so that means it brings all sorts of interesting challenges in terms of how you connect to every individual biller, and then aggregate that service to be able to give it that as a service to our clients, right? So it creates all sorts of implementation challenges that you have to agree to using their standard of interfacing, all right? You can't just dictate how you interface to how everyone interfaces to you, right? So that brings all sorts of different challenges. So we've got a massive what we call an integration bus, a service bus that we've created, that Thandi innovated, that allows us to through that to connect through CBZ Touch, and all the other services.
Very good.
Right.
And yeah. And Dr. Panashe, there is a question coming from the audience, and he's Mr. Indranil Basurai, and I quote, he says, Dr. Panashe, really great to see CBZ Touch has already moved in the path of open banking. How critical do you see Modfin role in this open banking journey? That's the question from the gentleman there.
Yeah, so in terms of Modfin, we, as a partner, we the ability to scale is very, very important, right? Because when you allow open banking, you can then move all of a sudden from 100,000 transactions per day to 5 million transactions per day. How do you scale, right? So it means you have to almost like re-engineer or retweak the architecture as you are also scaling. So that's very critical. You need a partner like Modfin, right, to allow us to then add all the different components to allow us to scale immediately. And also on the core banking system side, we need to be able to make sure that all of these transactions, we can reconcile every single transaction for not for only us, but for all of our partners. So having a partner like Modfin Server, that gives us that end-to-end capability, not only in the technology, but also in the reconciliation, and also offering our external partners these other services, very critical.
Oh, thank you very much. So I hope that answers Mr. Indranil Rai questions. And in today's audience, we have an interesting gentleman, Mr. Saul Chinanga. If you all know him, he was an ex-banker.
Yes.
Mr. Saul, welcome. We are happy to see your question on the notice. And Dr. Panashe, I read it for you, and I quote, Dr. Panashe, I wanted to know what the solutions you are implementing on CBZ Touch to help your client execute bulk payments. This is in light of the challenge the market is facing with the process of bulk payments. So that's from Saul Chinanga.
So we're actually implementing with ZimSwitch. We're actually implementing a solution for bulk payments. As you know, when Paynet went off the market, it cost it left a gap there. So, and then a lot of players started trying to innovate their own independent solution. But then all banks decided to come up with a solution that they work on all together. So that solution will be launched very soon, of which CBZ Touch will be integrated to that platform, which will allow for bulk payments. Not only bulk payments, but as you know, there are other innovations that we're actually launching. It's this week, right? We're launching mobile Visa. This week we're actually launching mobile Visa. Yeah, so we're actually launching mobile Visa, the mVisa platform through CBZ Touch, which allow you to do QR codes. Right.
Yes, which is right. And also, if I may say this, Mr. Panashe, we are working with CBZ in revamping the CBZ Touch as a new version, and also we are trying to build some new innovative things. While I will not comment on the new things coming into the market, which I will leave it to the privilege and the benefit to the CBZ to launch and plan accordingly, but that is soon coming into the market also. So it will be a complete reorchestration of the app look and feel, and also new modules they are planning to introduce for the convenience of the present scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working on certain innovations that you'll see in terms of the first thing that we've said is we've been speaking to our government, the issues around KYC, right? There's an uneven playing field between how mobile network operators are allowed to have a very loosely defined KYC process than banks. Banks are stringently regulated, right? So what we've said is we've spoken to the government and we said we are now vertically integrating into our Home Affairs and Registrar's Office, where we are able to authenticate national identification numbers, and we're able then to, based on that, create a digital identity that allows us to open a full-fledged account immediately on CBZ Touch. So coming very soon, you'll be able to get an account, a full banking service through CBZ Touch by applying through CBZ Touch just by typing your ID number, right?
Very good.
That's coming very, very soon. Yeah. And also social media banking will be part of it. So you'll be through any other platform using CBZ Touch. You'll also be able to do your social media banking. And of course, in terms of creating a much better and richer user experience, we'll be adding a lot of AI, artificial intelligence, as part of the customer journey and experience.
Very true.
So very soon, through CBZ Touch and the AI platform, you'll be able to see how much you're spending, where, and you'll even have your own little financial advisor bot on CBZ Touch that will tell you and warn you that you're spending too much money. Take it easy.
And maybe it will tell you apply for a loan at CBZ Touch.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So with the click of the button, the loan is converted to him. So these are the things which we are also interested in, you know, so which makes us to, which motivates us to work towards the CBZ Touch.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes. And on another note, there is a question from the audience, you know, so who wanted to know what are the peculiar challenges you faced when you...
The challenges that we would face with the normal mobile app. I think you've got issues to do with security. That's a one huge issue that has to be attended to on a mobile app. I think you need to, since it's a banking app, you need to come up with a very secure mobile app, which is something that we've done to a very large extent on our CBZ Touch. I'm glad to say we've not had any attacks that have really left us exposed on our CBZ Touch. And also need to come up with a robust backend. If your backend is not as robust as it's supposed to be, you'll find that you will run into a lot of challenges with your mobile app. I think Dr. Panache mentioned earlier on that at CBZ we have done an interface bus which supports our mobile app, and that interface bus is really one of the key components of our mobile app. You've also realized that I think right from the start, maybe I started from the middle. You need to come up with a very clear requirements gathering process, which gives you exactly what your customers would want to see. Because you realize that if you just come up with an app that shows screens, customers are not likely to use your app. So you need to be very clear in terms of what your customers are actually looking for. If I'll give as an example, within our environment, we've got transactions like you mentioned earlier on, Zip It. It's a very relevant transaction type within our environment, and then if you don't offer such a transaction, your customers are not likely to use your app. So I'm sure it will then be dependent on the market environment within wherever you are to ascertain what exactly are the requirements of your customers, and then you come up with something that meets the requirements of your customers. And last but not least, you also need a very robust infrastructure, which will support your system. At the end of the day, if I'm using an app and then the system goes down, it's likely to frustrate me as a customer. So you need a very robust infrastructure that supports your app, so that 24/7 uptime is achieved, and you get your customers happy all the time.
Understood. Interesting. So on the similar note, Mr. Adolf, if I can ask you this, so you have a diversified background like insurance, custodial, mortgage and agribusiness, etc., right? So
Yes.
So when you wanted to bring all such services under this application, was it facing for any challenge to you? And how did you segment the customers? How interactive it was for the customer to access on the app?
Okay, so for us, it was actually an opportunity that we saw within our environment, being a diversified group. Initially, our customers we actually siloed with bank customers, with insurance customers, investment customers, and we realized that there were so many opportunities for us to cross-sell our products. If a customer is a bank customer and is banking with a competitor insurance company or doing his insurance with a competitor, it becomes an opportunity for us to also then cross-sell our insurance. So it actually became an opportunity much more than a challenge for us to then bring in those customers into our environment, so that we are able to derive value and also give value to those same customers by utilizing all the services that are available within our environment.
Which is very interesting. So there is an opportunity for you to convert the customer for cross business as well. There's a cross sell and upsell opportunities.
Indeed.
Very interesting. And Dr. Panashe, there is a question from one gentleman, Mr. Amit. He is asking, you see any impact of the COVID on your digital channels uptake?
So we've actually seen a growth in our business, in our digital channels because of COVID-19. We've actually seen a growth in that. A lot of people are not, for example, they don't want to touch ATMs, right? So imagine that in a situation where you're being everywhere, you're being over sanitized, right? Everywhere you go, everyone is just looking. Right. So people don't want to touch anything related to paper. Even now, we've with mobile Visa that we're introducing through CBZ Touch, where you are scanning QR codes, and also with the card that we've launched on working with CBZ Touch, that allows you to tap instead of entering your PIN on the point of sale device. People right now are very conscious about social distancing. They're very conscious about not getting COVID-19, right? So any innovation that assists with COVID-19 requirements is very welcome, and we are actually seeing a growth instead of a decline in CBZ Touch in terms of customer acquisition.
Very good, very interesting. And if I may ask you a question to Mr. Thandi, so may I know what are the kind of a background infrastructure you're using in terms of the core banking or the card, and how the CBZ Touch application is, with how many backend applications the CBZ Touch is being interfaced? At least you can say the critical things for the benefit of the audience.
Okay, I think I would say from a high level, we've got about 6 core applications that have been integrated to our CBZ Touch application. But those are not the only ones. These are the major ones that I'm talking about. We've got various other applications that we also integrating into at a lower level, also including issues to do with billers. We've got various billers that we have integrated into, and then other service providers. We've got schools for us to do school fees payments and the like. So yeah, I would say, I think at high level, we've got about six core applications that we have integrated into, and then several other smaller systems.
Okay, interesting. So, and you see any challenges in interfacing with these things by the Modfin system or Modfin side?
Not at all. For us, the integrations with all those systems has been seamless. We've been able to achieve the integrations. You find when we come up with a new product and then we engage our colleagues from Modfin, we've been able to quickly maneuver in terms of getting those integrations up and running. So it has been a smooth process for us. Yeah, so I would say one or two issues, but not major to the extent that we've dismally failed to implement the interfaces that we have wanted to achieve.
Okay, and there's a question from a gentleman called Freddie Endolowu, and his question is, How was the growth curve like in terms of utilization of the application from 2016 till today?
Okay, maybe I can come in on that one. Initially, when we implemented, the uptake was not very good. I think in the first year, it wasn't so good. You find that customers were coming in from a USSD environment. Customers were used to the *123# kind of environment, and the mobile app would then present issues. I think you find people then start complaining about data. Say an app is going to chew up my data and things like that. But I think with marketing and more awareness and education, customers got to appreciate that a mobile app is actually a better alternative to USSD, and at the same time, issues to do with data are addressed, because the mobile app is not always going to be connected. You only connect when you want to do your transactions. So as the years went by, we started to see a growth in the number of customers who are coming on board, and I think when we then introduced the card transaction, we more or less exploded, because the card transaction then became the anchor of our solution, and then customers were able to get the app and the card at the same time, and then be able to use the two alternately.
So, which is interesting. And on the same note, on a continuation of this one, maybe. So, Dr. Panache, what is the growth you see for CBZ Touch down the line? Maybe today it could be more, it's close to 600, 700,000 customers, but maybe a couple of years down the line, how many millions you see on this application? And what is your target? I think we lost you, Dr. Panache. Your audio is not with.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's good.
So our target is to get 3 to 5 million customers on CBZ Touch within a period of 2 years. Oh, so we are on a very drive to get all different types of customers onto the platform.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well,
so very ambitious, but I know we can do it with all the. So what we're saying is, if you look at all these young millennials, we're saying CBZ is the coolest app that you'll find on the market, right? Exactly. Whether you bank with us or you don't bank with us, or you are a third party connecting through us, it will still be the coolest app, right?
Exactly.
So we're going to provide you this technology for you to utilize. Whatever innovation you want to do with it, right? That's up to you, right? So if you want to create a chicken selling app on top of CBZ app, CBZ Touch, you're more than welcome, right? So that's what we're saying.
Yeah, fantastic. So that gives a more avenues for growth as well, and also it also brings the ecosystem more vibrant in the market. So a lot of people don't need to build from the scratch on such things. They just make use of your existing infrastructure and just build on top of it. So that reduces their go-to-market and their investments, their time as well. So which is a very good initiative and approach. With this kind of a dynamic initiatives and approaches, I don't see achieving a 2 to 3 million target is very difficult. Given the opportunity in the Zimbabwe market and given the present new normal scenario we are facing, and I don't see that is a very big challenge. And I would say that we are very much excited as a company to work with you, and we're more than glad to assist you on all these things and initiatives. And we are coming close to the end of our session, but before we quickly wind up, and I would like to ask Dr. Panache, how was your experience with our company so far, and what is a bit of advice?
So we, as most of you might know, I've been probably with CBZ for 5 months, for 4 months, Adolf, right? Is that 4?
Yeah, 4 months.
And a lot of people think I've been there for 4 years. I've been there for 4 months. But the way we've connected with Modfin has been unbelievable in terms of getting any extraordinary change from FIU to do particular things. They've been very accommodative, and with the relationship that we have is different. We've got different vendors, right? We've got Oracle, Microsoft. I think our relationship is very different from all these other vendors in terms of the quickness of the response and the ability to fix any issues, right? Yeah. So I'm not just saying it because you are there, but I'm just being I'm very open.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're
so we've got a very one of the uniquest relationship with all the other vendors.
Oh, thank you very much. Very kind of you. And also, it's a forum to learn. It's not only that good things, and we also see it as a forum to learn from our customers and move on in the market. And Thandi is in the business, and Thandi is with the CBZ for a longer time than you, right? Than me as well with the association. So I think probably Thandi should have some negative comments on us if you wanted to say.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately for you, today is a good day for you. I don't have any negative comments. I think from the time we started working with MFS, it has been smooth sailing for us. I particularly like the agility that you have as MFS. Whenever we've come up with new ideas, sometimes they will seem very radical, but we've been able to weather the storm and be able to actually implement things that we thought we would not be able to implement. And it's all because of the agility of Modfin and the team that you have. I would also say from a reliability perspective, we also have a partner who is reliable. Whenever we work with you, we are quite sure that solutions are going to come, and if there are any challenges, they will be resolved. So for me, it's all been good. I don't have any negative.
Oh, very much. Very kind of you. I was seriously hoping some negative things from you. You being at a business support system, I know that, when the system goes down or some issues, how business screams at you and then you scream at my people. So I was honestly expecting some negative comments or some serious warnings from you. And I'm glad you didn't mention any such things. So thank you very much. That's the forms the basis of our partnership, So ladies and gentlemen, we are in conversation with Dr. Panashe and Mr. Adolf Thandi from CBZ Holdings. We're discussing about their approach in the market on the CBZ Touch and how they want to digitize the banking operations through CBZ Touch. So we are closely coming to the end of our conversation. And before we wind up, and with your permission, Dr. Panashe and Mr. Adolf Thandi, I would like to take on a gentleman name by Saul Chinanga. So he is in the audience list today, and that I should be thankful to Saul Chinanga because, and apart from Adolf Thandi and other colleagues at your side, our association started with when Saul was also in the bank as a e-banking head, and when after signing the contracts, everything, on a courtesy visit, I came to the bank and Saul looked at me and he was not very confident whether we can deliver this or not. Maybe he thought I'm too young to do these things or whatever the reasons, we don't know. So Saul was persistently asking, can you guys deliver it? What is your agenda, experience, and other things. And we have to present our boutique of experiences across Africa to convince him and to ensure that yes, we are the right people. And then they came down for a site visit in Kenya and other countries, and they saw us working with Equity Bank and other bigger organizations. We celebrated with CBZ, and that's how the relationship started, and the rest is a history in CBZ in the Zimbabwe market on the CBZ Touch. And fortunately or unfortunately, whatever the reason, Saul left the bank for his own good, and now he's an established man in the Zimbabwe financial industry. And the respected CEO who signed the contract also is left the bank for good. So with a round of applause and a sincere thanks to these gentlemen, I would like to thank you for your time, and we look forward to doing some more innovation with your help in the Zimbabwe market. And we would like to assure you and ensure that CBZ Touch is a darling of the banks in the market. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we're about to close the session. And if you have a last minute questions, we can post it. Otherwise, we are good to go off. Okay, so Doctor, if you're okay to have a question, there is a question from Mohan Sampath. How team is planning with Modfin to leverage the non-banking category customers to encourage this digital platform on the face of the security and liquidity handling? That's the question. And there is another question from Sikumjo Ndolu. The question is to Mr. Adolf. Would you say bandwidth provision has not been a challenge from 2016 to date? So, Adolf, there is a question to you. If you would like to answer, or maybe you would like to respond by email.
Okay, I can. Yeah, so Adolf, go first, please.
Okay. Thank you, Panache. I would say the bandwidth is actually it was a bit of an issue initially when we launched the app, but the service providers have been improving their services over the years, and I'm glad to say currently we have not been facing much challenges as far as bandwidth is concerned. There is still a lot of room for improvement, but we haven't had as many issues as we had when we were starting up on the app.
Okay, so which is good. And Dr. Panashe, you're about to say something, or you want to give the honors to Mr. Thandi?
Yes, the question was around financial inclusion.
Yes.
So we are very serious about financial inclusion, and this is why we're creating and integrating to our Home Affairs department so that we can authenticate your identity, because the bank does not create the identity. So based on that, we are then able to give you a full banking services. Whereas opposed to the current culture of KYC, where you need to bring in your bill, you need to bring in this, and you also need to bring in your mother-in-law to open a bank account. It's ridiculous, So we're saying financial inclusion is important as long as we know who you are, right? Of course, based on that, we've got also anti-money laundering systems where we are able to check whether you're politically exposed and all the other issues. But we are able to do that integrated to all these different platforms and open a bank account within 5 minutes, right?
Which is good.
Yeah.
Which is the need of the hour. Yeah. So we are coming to the almost end of the presentation before it can kick off out. So I would like to formally close it. So, but there is a last question from Nice Sebastian. He is asking Dr. Panashe, is CBZ Touch is an in-house hosted application or is it moved to the cloud?
At the moment, it's an in-house. We've got our own private cloud, right? So we've got our own premises cloud that we've created, right? Yeah. So we've got an on-premises cloud.
Yes. And there is another question to myself, and where he says, Amar, can we say Modfin is becoming a fintech partner of CBZ Touch? I think Dr. Panashe already confirmed our partnership with the CBZ, and you can say we are a fintech partner of CBZ Touch.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of the presentation. So, as I said before, the webinar can kick us out. I would like to formally close this one. And I thank you very much for your wonderful time. And if you have any questions, please reach out to my pre-sales team and we will be happy to serve you off the record. Thank you very much.